Going on, YouTubers? Now, I did film this video yesterday and deleted it because um, I should have edited the video. I heard the ceiling fan in the in the background a whole lot, and I got off topic for like 20 minutes before I got to what I was trying to say. And that's because I was explaining why I've been absent for like 2 weeks, and just so I can just make it real fast. A bunch of workers left my job, two of them being supervisors in the kitchen. I work in a hotel. Um, and so I've been picking up a lot of hours, taking advantage of the situation right now. If any of you have been keeping up with me, I have extremely bad feet. Um, and so I've been using Ace bandage wrap to help with the compression helps take the plantar fasciitis away from my feet and other pains that I'm dealing with from me being flat-footed and ankles falling and all of that. So that's what I've been doing. I've been working, man, and it's been kind of crazy at work. So me not being happy at home, and I'm not gonna say I'm not happy at work, but it's just definitely been a lot that I've been dealing with as far as these weddings and things that we've been doing with a lack of help. So that's where I've been, just a little busy, trying to get myself together. Cars fixed, license fixed, and back into my own place again. So that's where I've been. So back to the topic, I wanted to speak about the power and influence of a feminine woman, because when you hear the word a submissive woman, a lot of women kind of get triggered by that word. And, a lot of women, they say, oh, well, she's a weak woman. If she's submissive, she's a weak woman. And I always wonder, what is a strong woman? To a lot of these women, because a lot of these women who I hear say that they're strong women, I've seen them just do things that I wouldn't consider strong. Leave their kids with strangers, do drugs in front of their kids, smoke weed in front of their kids, get drunk in front of their kids, bring all type of men around their kids, just make horrible decisions that a strong-minded woman wouldn't make, put themselves in horrible positions and horrible scenarios. And I'm like, can't say a strong woman would, do some of the things I've seen these women who say they're strong do. So it always confused me, what a woman means by being strong. And the stigma behind a submissive woman, I feel like for all the women who are good wives, and I'm not saying that you have to be a submissive woman to be a good wife, but for the women that are good wives because they listen to their men, we live in a world where feminine. It seems to me like when women talk about liberation, it's always about sexual liberation. That's their main thing. And a lot of them talk about, oh, I'm a boss bitch and all that. And that's cool. But you see, what I've always been attracted to, and I think a lot of men would agree, at least the ones that aren't that ignorant, is that you want a woman that's feminine. And that's what these women are missing out on when they try to be strong, independent women. A lot of them become kind of masculine because they want to be so strong. They want to be, there's a lot of power in a damsel in distress if everybody wants to save her. And as a woman, guys are going to come try to save you anyway just so they can have sex. They're going to try to at least pretend like they're trying to save you. There are a lot of guys that are just really trying to get sex out of you. But plenty of women can benefit off of that. And I think that's what makes women kind of get the big head in the dating world. I mean, they should have the big head. They got men chasing them like crazy. Even women that aren't considered generally attractive have men chasing them like crazy. Or at least they can, start a dating profile or whatever. And so, yes, we live in a world where women are sexually liberated. But I'd like to take my hat off to the women that are conservative still, because they don't get a lot of shine out here at all. So shout out to the conservative women. Now, like I said, I don't like a woman who's strong or who's super independent because it comes with an ego. You know, like I said, they think they're a bad bee, and they go around bragging about how independent they are, and they sort of have this like egotistical thing about them. And it's like, you know, humble yourself. Okay, you work a job, you got your own everything. Okay, that's fine. That's good for you. But you're still single, and a lot of them be like, well, I don't care about being single. I don't need a man. And then they be juggling like 3 or 4 men while they saying that. But you know, they say that, and me, like I'm saying, like I said, I don't like that type of energy. Even in the bedroom when having sex, for me, when I was younger, it didn't matter. But now that I'm older, I don't even like it when a woman is super aggressive in bed if I don't know her. Like, as soon as we have sex, first off, she want to screw the first day. And I'm not always like turned off by a woman wanting to screw the first day, but it's just how she comes about it. Like, I would rather her be a little bit more shy about it, or a little bit more, I don't know, just feminine about it. And some of these women, they just aggressive. Like, they just attack you, barely knowing you the first night. And some guys will probably love that. But as I get older, it's like, man, I've dealt with so many promiscuous women. That's not even a turn on for me anymore. I mean, sometimes if I'm like, you know, going through a dry spell where I just haven't had any sex at all, then yeah, then I'm going to be turned on regardless. But, you know, just regular old me, you know, I tell a lot of guys, if you, before you make that mistake of thinking with your other head, get one off with yourself, and your mind will start thinking completely different. Because that's how these women benefit. We think with our other head, and you know, we give these women compliments, and we make them feel real special, and you know, it kind of blows their head up, and you know. I mean, what would you be doing if women were telling you how special you were as a man? It's gonna blow your head up. You're gonna feel some type of way. You'll be conceited. So that's what you have out here. But submissive women are also very powerful, and I would argue that a submissive woman with a husband is more powerful than these independent women are. Because yeah, these independent women have a bunch of different men that they can use for money. Maybe you're a prostitute, maybe you're a Instagram model, influencer, whatever you want to call it. Maybe you got your own, or maybe you're a porn star. Maybe you're a, what's it called? OnlyFans success. But eventually, that's gonna run out, most likely. You're going to spend that money. You're going to be living a lavish lifestyle, maybe, or the lifestyle that you can afford while using all these men for their money. And eventually, once your looks runs out, the money runs out. You haven't built a strong relationship with anybody, and you might have built a horrible reputation for yourself that might leave you screwed over in the end. And then all those sexual partners kind of screws up your brain. It kind of makes you hard to match with, in my opinion. Like, in my opinion, it kind of makes you like, you know, it screws up your head in the long run. I think women who use sex and use, you know, they put themselves out there like that, they get the gratification for now, but they don't they're really screwing themselves up in the future, a lot of them, without realizing it. And I think a lot of them kind of go after their role models and these superstars who are speaking on sexual liberation and having slut walks and things like that, and this is who influences them. But for the women that are submissive, and when I say submissive, I do mean a woman that listens to her man. I really just mean feminine. If you can switch the word submissive with the word feminine, I think that works out perfectly, because that's just what a woman is, or a submissive woman is. She's really just a feminine woman. And I work in downtown in my city, you know, where all the bars are, the nice restaurants are. So I work around all the servers. I work around all these women who are, you know, maybe college girls, or and you got wild girls in college too, don't get me wrong, but I work around a lot of feminine women, and you see them on the streets. You see the wild girls too, and you see them within the job. And feminine doesn't necessarily mean that they haven't went through a whole phase, because that's very hard to find nowadays. But it just means the way that they carry themselves is a lot more graceful. It's a lot more um, elegant. It's a lot more attractive to most men. And I think a lot of women got to realize when you carry yourself in a sexual way, all the women who put their booty to the side when they take a picture so somebody can see how big their booty is, you're attracting a certain type of man. That's the type of man who likes to go to strip clubs. That's the type of man who likes to trick on women. That's the type of man who likes to juggle multiple women, and that's what you're attracting. And that's why you keep on getting the type of men that you get, because that's the type of men you're attracting. You're kind of selling your body out there like that. You're not selling yourself as a woman. You think that your body and your independence is somehow making you a catch. But a damsel in distress, when she gets a man with potential and she stands behind that man, or gets a man who is already successful, she now has power of that man. She now has the power of influence. Most women, like I said, have the power of influence that can get you to do a lot of things with sex. I've seen men do a lot of things just to get into a woman's pants. Even, skipped out on money that they could be making. I remember back in the day when I had hustles that involved women, my guys who could have made money off these women decided to go a whole nother route. And instead of like sticking to the plan and making money off these women, this is the younger me, they decided to do what the woman said because the woman promised them some head at the end of the day or something like that. And so they ended up skipping out on $200 just to drive this woman around, waste all their gas, and just end up getting head at the end of the day. And so I feel like, you know, when a guy is courting a woman, this is why I say when women have hoe phases, they have like very glorious hoe phases because they don't really have to put in any work. But when a man sleeps around, what people need to understand, or at least what women need to understand, is we have to usually give up two valuable resources, or at least one out of two very valuable resources. And those resources are our time and our money. Now, under the money umbrella, you can have a lot of things: actual money, gifts, a place to live, transportation. All these things I feel like fall under money. And then when it comes to time, you have someone who's going to make you feel special, someone who's going to text you, stay on the phone with you for hours, come kick it with you for hours, or for whatever time that you want them to kick it with you with. Because a woman, when she's like trying to, let's say, start a business, and let's say she gets horny or lonely, she can easily call a dude up for sex and then kick him to the curb and not hear from him from 2 weeks. But usually if a man has sex with a woman and he doesn't call her or ignore her for 2 weeks, she's done with him. She's moving on to the next man a lot of times, unless that woman is after that man's resources, something heavy. But if he's just a normal guy, she's going to kick that man to the curb and already be on to the next one because she felt like, he didn't give her enough time. So she wants a man to kind of play into her ego, her self-esteem. He wants her to she wants that man to chase him, to chase her, and she wants that man to give up his resources in order to prove that he's worth giving the coochie to. And that's just how it goes. So for men, if let's say a man's trying to start a business, him having a woman can get in his way. A certain type of woman. If he has a woman that's just after his resources, that woman is going to take time from him and that's going to take money from him. And those are the two valuable things he needs to start his business. I've been guilty of it. I've seen a lot of guys guilty of the same thing. I've seen a lot of guys never reach success because of women they dated. Every woman I ever dated slowed me down because me just being a nice guy and kind of like putting my dreams to the side a little bit to, try to entertain them without me knowing any better or thinking that's what I was doing. And kind of I did, but I kind of felt like I was just being a good guy, trying to be the good man that people tell you to be. But you can't listen to a woman tell you the type of man to be, because these are these women that you see on Facebook and on social media telling you what's a good man and how to be a good man. And me being stupid and really like new to relationships, I followed those beliefs and they're false beliefs. I think a woman's gonna appreciate you more if you stay true to what you're trying to do, and she's gonna want you even more when she sees that you're not breaking even for her. You're focused on your mission. And you have women that'll try to get you off your mission just to get what they want out of the situation with you, which is your time and your money. But when you have that submissive woman, that feminine woman who isn't egotistical, who isn't a gold digger, who isn't trying to use you, and you get that woman who's really a good catch, a good woman, that woman can turn that man into one of the most powerful men she's ever been with. Because that type of love that this feminine woman and faithful, trustworthy, loyal woman, the type of love that she gives off is going to help that man achieve his goals. It's going to give him the confidence that he needs to know, oh, I got a good woman. Now, I'm saying this assuming that you know how to choose a good man, which a lot of women don't know how to choose good men. And let me give you a real quick pointer on that. If you're going to date a man, if you want a man to be faithful to you, date a man who isn't juggling women when you meet him. Date a man who isn't juggling anybody when you meet him. But a lot of y'all want the men that are juggling multiple women, and then y'all think that y'all love is going to make them be faithful to y'all. It doesn't work like that for men or women. It's like a man trying to turn a hoe into a housewife. You can't do it. It's like a man dating a woman that smokes and drinks and he wants her to be sober. It's going to take a long time. Your love isn't going to make her sober. She's going to do that in her own time. You know, a man's going to stop sleeping around in his own time. So you want to date a man that's already like that. You don't date somebody and then try to change them. You get somebody that's out of weight and think that you're going to try to convince them to get in shape. No, get somebody that's already in shape, or somebody who's already trying to get in shape, who's already on that mission. You don't get somebody and try to change them. It just doesn't work like that. Because people are, you know, we build habits, and it's so hard to break a bad habit. So, you know, that's the advice that I would give to men and women, but I'm talking about women specifically in this video. If you don't want a man cheating on you, date a man who isn't juggling multiple women. If you don't want a man who's, I don't know, an alcoholic or something like that, then date a man that's sober when you meet him. And those are the guys that you put your energy into. If you don't want a broke dude, date a man who's already working and showing that he's already trying to make something of himself. Maybe he doesn't have his own everything. See, a lot of y'all go after resources. You should at least see that he's trying and not in the streets selling drugs, because that's supply and demand. These girls are just so ignorant. We're like, oh, he was getting money when I met him. He was selling drugs or doing this. Well, it's easy to sell drugs. It's, you know, it really is. Because it's supply and demand. If you have the supply, if you're the supplier and you have the product, then it's going to sell itself. Drugs sell themselves. So a lot of these women that are in the ghetto just have this, like, you know, silly type of state of mind. You know, I always tell men also, watch the women that you date. You don't want a woman that listens to rap music, hardcore rap music. You don't want a woman that's, if you are like a professional man and you want a professional woman and you want to, you know, have that type of lifestyle and relationship, do not date a woman that's even influenced by the streets. You don't want that type of woman. That's why these men become successful and leave those type of women, you know, in the streets. You know, they'll end up with better women. You see people like Lil Durk. Well, they still date street girls. See people like Mike Epps. You see people like, you know, Mike Epps talked about his mama looked like James Brown. I mean, his girlfriend, his ex-baby mama looked like James Brown. Now look at his wife. Very beautiful, very elegant, and most likely very feminine. You can tell just from how she carries herself. So, you know, date somebody that's already like that. So back to what I was saying. So assuming that you women have as a woman, you're dating a man that has potential, and who's a good guy. Put your energy and your love behind that man, and watch how you can influence that man to become something special. Because what it is he needs your love just like you need him. Y'all need each other. He needs your feminine energy, that nurturing energy that women are supposed to have. And you need that man for his masculine energy, that the protection, the security and things like that. And those things complement each other. So a woman who listens to her man makes her man feel confident in his household, makes him feel like a king. And if you continue to give him that confidence, sooner or later he will become that king that he's aspiring to be, because he's like, man, I'm going all out just for my woman. I'm about to show her what I'm made of. I'm about to show my family what I'm made of. And it'll just give him that push and that potential that he really needs. That's why they say behind every great man is a great woman. And you have to think, once he becomes king, what are you? You're crowned queen. And a queen has a lot of influence on a king. And sometimes that queen can be more powerful than that king just because she has so much influence on that king. He's going to respect her decisions. He's going to respect her input because this queen has had his back this whole time. Michelle and Obama. Michelle and Barack. They're a good example. Denzel Washington, though I'm sure he cheated on his wife, they're a good example. There's a lot of good examples out there. Coretta and Dr. Martin Luther King. Good examples. There's a lot of good examples out here. Others that I can't really think of. A lot that I can't really think of. I wasn't prepared to even start naming couples. But even just in my life, out of people I know, there's a lot of good examples out here. And that's the power of a feminine woman. Not a woman who's sexually liberated. Not a woman who's out here, going through her glorious hoe phase. Not a woman who's out here trying to be a boss bitch. Not a woman who's out here, bragging about being independent. Because independent at the end of the day does mean alone. It's not about that. And, I think some of these women, they get just so caught up on trying to be this strong woman, they forget that they're a woman at the end of the day. It's like they don't want to be a feminine woman. It's like they want to be masculine. They want to compete with men so bad. It's like, but no, your strength is in being a woman. That's why you're a woman. What are you having, a gender identity crisis or something? Like, and that's just what I want to say, man. Like, that's why a lot of these guys, at least the guys who aren't ignorant, like these rappers, take rappers out of it. A street rapper is just going to be a street rapper. But take guys like comedians or actors, politicians, guys that are even in more professional fields, doctors, lawyers, someone who chose a career path that required education, a master's degree, a PhD, even a bachelor's degree. You take these men, more professional men that aren't, influenced by the streets like rap music and things like that, who aren't trying to be rappers. And a lot of times you'll see that most of them are with feminine women. And then these women be like, well, dang, why don't I never get these type of men? It's because of the type of men you choose and the type of men you attract. You're not attracting professional men. You're attracting the men that like to go to strip clubs. You're attracting the men that like to, trick on women, tip women, pay for prostitutes, pull a bunch of women, out in the public and juggle a whole bunch of women. You're dating like little boys. They're not like mature at all. And don't get me wrong, it's not like, you got men that are mature and still juggle a bunch of women, but you should have known that about him when you met him, or at least waited to find out who he really was. You could have tried that out by calling him, whenever you should have been able to call him whenever you wanted to call him, without him trying to dodge your call. Because if he's trying to dodge your call in any type of way, or always seems like he's too busy for you, then 9 times out of 10 he's with another woman. He's going to give you his time. And in exchange for that time, you should be able to lift him up. And that's just how it goes. And so that's why I would argue that a feminine woman, is more powerful than these women think. They're not weak. They're actually smarter. They actually end up being in happier relationships. Studies show that people that are married live longer than people that are single. And, that's why I would like to say that to even the guys on my channel, like, it's nothing wrong with having a woman, man. I know a lot of people are content being alone. And a lot of people are content not having kids. I probably don't want any kids, like I've mentioned before, but I do want a wife. I would like to have a woman by my side, a good woman by my side. And that's the type of woman I'm going to go for, a feminine woman. I'm not going for a woman who does drugs. I'm not going for a woman who's out of shape. It's not even out of shape. I don't want a woman that's real big because, or if she is kind of out of shape, then I would prefer her to be working on herself. You know, some of these women are just. I don't want a woman that's just big and doesn't care. You know, but I like a woman with a pretty face. I can usually I have to be attracted to her face, and then I can go from there. Because I have too many flaws to want a perfect woman, and I wouldn't want a perfect woman anyway. I kind of like flaws here and there. Um, but that's just what I want to say, man. I think a lot of women should try to focus on trying to be more feminine. And I feel like you'll find in your femininity that there's a lot of power within that. And there's even more influence on men by being feminine than you would get by being dominant and masculine in your energy. And that's all I wanted to say. I'm a Scrooge and I'm checking out.